Is the video clear from our side?
Yes, it is clear. So we are live now.
Great.
Yes, live. Yeah.
Hello, welcome everyone. Myself, Ajay Jain, and with me is Prasadji Alamanchi from Chicago. We are extremely pleased to have you all here on Google Hangout with Dr. Swamy. He'll be talking to us about the Indian economy and what are the possible remedies that we can take to bring it back on track. To kick this off, my colleague Prasadji Alamanchi will quickly introduce the concept of critical thinkers. And after that, Dr. Swamy will be talking to us. And then towards the end, we will have the opportunity for the audience to engage with any questions they might have, including those who are with us inside the Hangout. So with that, Prasadji Alamanchi.
Good evening in USA. Good morning in India. Rest of the world, whatever applies to you. Welcome to first Google Hangout with Dr. Subramanian Swamy. I think it was during his last trip to Chicago. I asked Dr. Subramanian Swamy, what is it we can do for India from here in USA? Dr. Swamy said, it's critical thinking, critical thinking. So with the blessings of Dr. Subramanian Swamy, we formed Global Critical Thinkers Organization and requested Dr. Swamy to address its first Google Hangout. We intend to bring many more speakers for your critical thinking pleasure in the coming months. There is tremendous need for critical thinking. There are many issues in India, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, to be questioned. That's what Dr. Subramanian Swamy is doing, questioning, and changing the debate from handouts to self-reliance. You need to create an environment for people to be able to earn their own living instead of depending on government handouts. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. He said this during his trial, for he did not want to live out the rest of his life without questioning and provoking questions. For him, it was not worth living. And these immortal words have echoed even today. Socrates dreamt of a better world. He thought a better world. With his wisdom, that is probably the main reason he was persecuted so indefinitely. This shows one of the two things. People are scared to open up their minds, that others simply chose not to. Though everyone has the ability, most live in blissful ignorance. This is where the line skews. For those like myself, who question the questions and question the answers to our questions, the line is gone and possibilities are endless. This is where Dr. Subramanian Swamy brings us with Socratic ideals. Dr. Swamy lives an examined life, as life is like open book. Where in today's world, leaders live unexamined lives about their travel, their health, and their assets. Voters have a right to know about their leaders, in whose hands the nation's destiny exists. Dr. Swamy reaches where others try and fail, or never dreamt of reaching there. Example, Ram Setu. Many before him tried and failed. Dr. Swamy single-handedly stopped the destruction of Ram Setu. 2G scam. Many of us ordinary souls have absolutely no idea about this mega scam. Dr. Swamy reaches and accomplished nobody before ever dreamt of. Finally, I would like to quote Bobby Kennedy. He said, "Some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream of things never were and say, why not?" That's what Dr. Swamy has always been saying. Why not? Why not? And why not? Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Dr. Subramanian Swamy, who is going to address what ails Indian economy. Find out Dr. Swamy's remedy. Dr. Subramanian Swamy, it's all yours.
Well, first I'd like to say that I'm presently engaged in an exercise on behalf of the Vision Committee headed by Nitin Gadkari, wherein I have been assigned the task of a subcommittee which deals with the economic policy. It's called, I'm chairman of a subcommittee within the Vision Committee called Perspective Economic Planning for 2020. Now, in that course of that, I have formulated the view on what's wrong with the Indian economy and how we can get out of what we are doing. We are clearly in a tailspin, and the tailspin is due, or at least as an economist, it's not, on the face of it, an inexplicable tailspin. Why we should be in a tailspin at all? Because we were growing at about 8.5 to 9% per year, and we were not affected by the American meltdown because our banks were very strong. We had limited exposure to real estate and house buying. So what happened that we are today in this mess since 2009? What we find is the manifestation of this mess is that an inflation growth rate, which is the highest, I think, for the last 25 years, which is 12% per year. And this is happening while the Reserve Bank governor has gone crazy and gone on raising the interest rates by increasing the repo rate, and tightened the money policy, made it more difficult to get loans. And despite that, the economy is not cooling. Now, why? Why is the inflation 12%? Secondly, we find the growth rate of GDP has been consistently declining. Year after year, it has gone down. Now it's gone down to 4.5%. And in fact, many agencies like the Standard & Poor have actually said that they may even consider declaring India's assets as junk. So why have we come down like this? And add to this the poverty questions, the suicides in agriculture, and so on. Is India really bereft of resources, and it doesn't have, now is not in a position to finance further growth, or there is something else? So that's how I began looking at it. And I found that there's none of the things that are being popularly said in the newspapers is correct, or none of the excuses being trotted out by the Congress party is correct. We have no shortage of resources. Supposing we had auctioned the 2G spectrum, we would have got 1,76,000, the very minimum. My estimate is 2 lakhs. But the CAG put it at 1,76,000. I accept that. And even 1,76,000 is a lot of money, because the total personal income tax revenue that government collects is only 2 lakhs. And the total subsidy bill is also about 2 lakh crore rupees. So here is a big, just on 2G spectrum auction. Now you do it for 3G, now 4G is coming. And these, as you know, that as time passes, the more and more generations, depending on the bandwidth of the spectrum, we will be able to do more things. So there's one. Similarly, we handed out coal blocks for a song to various private supporters of private industrialists who are supporters of the Congress party. And had we auctioned it, and we will probably now auction it after May 2014, had we auctioned it, we would have got 11 lakh crores. Now 11 lakh crores is a lot of money. That means almost 2.5 years of our total tax bill. I'm not talking about only income tax. It's 6 times the tax bill, income tax bill, and about 2.5 times the total tax bill of the government. So similarly, if these oil fields which are given away for a song to an industrialist had been auctioned, we would have got 24 lakh crores. and the world is now looking for thorium. There's a lot of thorium smuggling going out from the sands of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. If we have 60% of the world's thorium, and thorium is the nuclear fuel of the future. If we auction the world needs for thorium by legal sand mining instead of illegal sand mining that's going on, we will get 44 lakh crores. I mean, there's just no shortage of money. And on top of that, if you are able to bring back the money that Indians have got in illegal bank accounts abroad, you will get $1.5 trillion, which is a huge amount, which is almost it'll border on 120 lakh crores. I mean, there's just no shortage of resource in India if you decide to collect it in the proper way through the market system. So this is the first point I would like to make. So I would say that many of these problems are directly attributable to the policies of the UPA. Why is the inflation taking place? Because the people who have got money in Switzerland bank accounts and other places don't get interest paid on their deposits. There's a service charge of 2%, and so they came up with this wise idea of creating a derivative, a financial derivative called participatory note, by which you get an anonymous piece of paper. That is, your name is not there, the serial number is not there, nothing is there except the amount. It's like a currency note, and you're allowed to bring it back to India and invest in the stock market. And the stock market goes up, you sell out, and then you take the capital gains and go abroad back with it. And the Reserve Bank is obliged to give you the rupees that you earned on the stock market in dollars. And nor is the Securities Exchange Bureau of India allowed to investigate where you got all this money to buy these participatory notes. They've exempted that. The UPA has amended the law for that effect. Now a huge amount comes in. $60 billion have come in through this participatory note, and now they don't even pay capital gains tax because they passed a new law saying that if a Mauritius company invests in India in equity or in the stock market, it will be exempt from capital gains tax. So what is the need for to create a company in Mauritius? Just $1. You can create a company for $1 in Mauritius. So there's corruption is at the root of all your problems. The money that's not taken out abroad. Tell me which country in the world may
We're having some technical difficulties. As soon as we get back on. Ajay, you can mention that if you have some technical.
Dr. Swamy, if you can hear us, there is some technical problem on your end. We lost your audio. If you can try and get back in and resume from where we lost you.
Now he's sitting with him, right?
Okay, please, all of us, please. Let's wait for a minute. So let them.
Now it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Better?
It's breaking up once again.
Yeah, now it should be okay. Yeah, well, yeah.
Please bear with us as we're trying to figure out the problem with the network here. We just lost Dr. Swamy's audio and video.
Can you type in something?
They can hear us.
Can we scroll on the top? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. There's some technical difficulty on Dr. Swamy's end, so we're working through it. Thank you for your patience. We should be back shortly.
Going really good.
Ajay, you may want to invite them again. So they just dropped off.
Yeah, I sent them an invite again. They should be, Dr. Swamy should be back shortly. Okay, Dr. Swamy just got back here. Hello, Dr. Swamy, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Okay, so I've made out the case that, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
I made out a case. I don't want to take more time. I made out a case that the problems we are having today are all directly attributable to the corruption money that's flowing around the country and abroad and coming back abroad and wrecking our stock market, etc. Now, therefore, based on the belief that you don't have a shortage of resources, but this is only a question of how you mobilize it and how you plug in this corruption. I have suggested in my document, which is going to the vision committee of the party, that we should look at the problem in 4 parts. First, what's our objective? 2, what's our priority? 3rd, what is our strategy? And 4, how do we mobilize resources? These 4 things are the parts of my document, which is going to the vision committee. And as far as the objectives is concerned, we must grow at 10 to 12% per year in GDP. Can this be done? Well, it can be done if, for example, your rate of savings goes back to
Dr. Swamy, we lost your audio again. If there's a bandwidth issue, maybe we can try and lower the, either mute the video and just go with the audio for now, or lower the bandwidth requirement on your side and try and get a lower quality video while we can get your audio in.
Yeah, I think it'll be better if he just mutes his video on his end, and then the audio part will be better, because I think there's a bandwidth issue. I mean, it just goes on and off. So yeah, he's back.
Can you hear us?
See him.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Microphone.
It's on mute.
Go ahead, just
Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you right now. If this happens again, let's mute the video and go with the audio.
yeah, mute the video.
Okay, so therefore, as far as the objective is concerned, we must grow at that rate. If the capital you get of investment at 36%, then the growth rate is measured by a thumb rule of 36, the rate of investment divided by the capital output ratio, which means 36 by 3, which is 12. So you can grow at 12% per year. Can we get a 36% growth rate, the rate of investment? Of course we can. And that's why I've suggested that the income tax and the corporate direct taxes should be both be abolished. And people were shocked when I first suggested it, but when I showed the arithmetic that the total loss of revenue for the government would be 2 lakh crores, and that 2 lakh crores can easily be made up by auctioning of natural resources, more than made up by auctioning of natural resources. Not only that, then in America there's something called Laffer curve. Supposing I abolish income tax and direct corporate tax, people are not going to go and throw the money away. They're going to put it in banks, and that bank then can lend money, and so the rate of investment can go up as a consequence, and that will lead to, through the indirect taxes, more revenue. But I'm saying that basically it will create a confidence in the country, because people are getting harassed by the income tax no end, and these finance ministers, whoever is presently there, they all use it for political purposes. So people get harassed, they get timid, they get afraid, and so we got to liberate our people, got to create enthusiasm, and that is why I am in favor of lowering to raise the rate of investment through this method. And our Indian people are great savers. We are the highest contributors to rate of investment in any country. I mean, we contribute nearly, I think, something like 85% of the total investment of the country through household savings. The others, corporates and all, give only the remaining 15%. So this is one objective. And the second thing is that the priorities I have noted down should be that we should control the prices. And the way to control the prices is go after these corrupt people and ban this participatory note, ban forward trading, get hold of black money, which is very easy. All you have to do is arrest about 5-6 important Hawala operators who have connections with Dawood Ibrahim in Dubai and some people in Singapore. So that would create a very great salutary effect. And once that black money gets out of the circulation of the Indian economy, then you will find that the prices would come down, because there's no shortage in the country of agricultural production. So I would focus it this way. The third thing is strategy. Strategy has to be, we have the biggest potential in our economy in agriculture. We can be a globalized agricultural power, because the yield per acre is one of the lowest, and if you compare it to the yield per acre you get in experimental plots of the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, it's 1/7. That in the same country, the same plot, but with the with management of water resources, fertilizer, we get 7 times the production. Then the price of Indian agricultural products is the lowest in the world. This is documented now by the WTO, and that means that you can export, provided we have small airfields in every district, we have cold storages, we are our ports are efficient, our air freight system is efficient, our packaging system is in place. All these things are required supporting activities, which are not rocket science, and that they can be achieved. And if you do that, you can export your rice. Rice is costing 7 times as much in Japan and South Africa as it costs in India. And our basmati rice, if you sort of ban it, it gets smuggled out. It's so popular that even the Americans thought of getting out a patent on basmati rice on the sly, and we stopped them, of course, the WTO. So agriculture. Now take milk. We have 150 million cows, but the yield is only 200 liters per year. The average Israeli cow, which is well fed on vitamins and other things, gives you 11,000 liters. Now just imagine 150 million cows giving you 11,000 liters on the average. You would flood the world with milk, and you probably can have a bath in milk. That much milk you will produce. So then the potential of agriculture is enormous, but the problem is the price in the country. It's so low that the farmers cannot meet their cost of production, and the people are politically in a democratic society. You can't afford to raise the prices. So the farmers are increasingly finding that they are making losses. So the only way for the farmer to earn a good price is to be able to export, and for that, of course, you have to use your savvy, your connections, your network to see that the WTO eases these restrictions that the European countries and Americans are placed on agricultural imports. So this is one strategy. Second thing is, we need now a lot of innovations, and we've got of the large countries, the largest pool of young people, 70% of our population below the age of 35. Now, if we can get these young people trained to have a new attitude, not look for jobs, steady jobs, but be innovative, take risks, be not risk averse, but ready to take calculated risks and educate them. And now you see, with all your United States, Harvard, MIT, etc., having this EDX syllabus where you can literally attend class in America without having to go to America. I think if this kind of supplements our educational system, we can produce very bright people. We do produce very bright people. Our software, we are leaders in the world in the SCI, CMM grading 1 to 5. We have the largest number of companies, more than the United States, and certainly much more than China. I mean, China is no match for us. China is no match for us in Japan in the getting of the Deming Prize for automobile ancillary quality. We have top class quality. Every year we get the first prize. So I mean, and you Indians in America, you have the highest per capita income of any community. Now, if you can do it in America, certainly you can do it in India. So this demographic dividend, as it's called, we've got to put them. So the educational system must get 6% of the GDP as investment instead of the present 2%. This is another thing that needs to be done. And there are projects which need to touch the people right away. Instead of saying it'll come down, it'll happen. That's the mistake of many reformers like Narasimha.
Dr. Swamy, we've lost your audio stream once again. We're having some bandwidth issues. We'll get them sorted out shortly. Dr. Swamy, if you can hear us, let's see if we can mute the video or lower the bandwidth on your side and resume this. Thank you. Feedback.
You want to sit down here and read all those?
Yes.
And
Yeah, now can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There is some jitter still, Dr. Swamy.
All right. So
We still can't hear you.
yep.
Hello everyone. We apologize for the bandwidth. We're working on it. Thank you very much for your patience. Dr. Swamy, if you can hear us, your audio stream is broken right now.
Why don't we read in the meantime?
Yeah.
There may be 2-3 persons. It's almost off probably. It's time.
Hello, Dr. Swamy. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, we can hear you now.
We can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So I'd say
There is still audio problem.
Rahul, that can you off the video and
Dr. Swamy, if you could just
one
ask
more
Rahul to mute.
strategy I'll mention.
Dr. Swamy, if you could mute your video, I think we can move on with the audio stream. Looks like there is some bandwidth restriction on the
Is
you call Rahul.
we need
There's still an audio issue there.
Call Rahul.
Yeah. Dr. Swamy, we can't still hear you. Okay.
Sorry, folks. We'll try to get Dr. Swamy back as soon as possible.
Will you call him? Rahul is call. You call Rahul.
Dr. Swamy, we can see you now, although we cannot hear you at the moment.
Good something. Not answering. It's going so good. Is not answering.
Yeah.
Maybe we should use not just use his picture and
Hello, everyone. We're extremely sorry for this technical difficulty. We're working on sorting this out. There is some network problem here on Dr. Swamy's end. We'll get back very shortly, and we have a lot of questions posted by audience, and we're going to do our best to get to all of them. Thank you for your patience once again.
Ajay, why don't you just, if you have those questions, email them to Dr. Swamy just in case, because we can save some time in reading and responding to it. Just email it to him, so maybe he can read those questions and just answer better, because we're running short of time as well.
Good idea.
Yeah, sure.
How do you email them? Do you want to put another screen? No?
I'll try to call Rahul and see if we can do something.
No, Ajay ji? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. Rahul, I can hear you.
Let's continue to a bit. Yeah. Is Dr. Swamy visible to you now?
Not right now.
Right now, yeah, we're getting there. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Hey, Rahul, can you just send audio? Yeah, we can see you now.
Video off कर देना.
On top, you will see an option to yes. Now it's just audio. Your camera is on. Oops, he left.
What is he trying to say, Rahul?
Yes.
Hear the question.
Yeah, guys, we're going to have Dr. Swamy connect through another service provider, because there is an issue with this existing service provider.
Okay.
So
Ajay ji?
find another way to do that.
Ajay ji?
Yes, we're here. We can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
We can hear you, Rahul.
Go ahead, Rahul.
We are trying to have one more connection along with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Just give us a minute. We are trying to have one more connection. Actually, the connection is dropping out in between.
Okay.
We are trying with the. Just give us a minute.
Okay.
I think it's working. It's working. Just plug it.
Yeah.
And we can
This one, it's got full connections. No problem. Yeah, just a minute.
Yes, we can now
Yeah,
see
we
and
can
hear
hear
you.
you good. We can hear you good. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying that what we need now, we know the strategy now. We know how to get these resources. We know that the key thing is the innovation, which is blocking us. Of it we can do. There's no corruption. For example, infrastructure is we build the finest roads in Nigeria, in Malaysia, in Iraq, but we are not able to build good roads in India. And all these local octroys, so on, these which require reform. All that the state needs is alternative sources of financing. So if that happens, we will not only boost our economy, but we will also undermine China, because China's whole economic model is based on importing semi-processed goods from East Asia and adding value, like, take the Lenovo. All they do is get it from Taiwan, and then they put the keyboard and the glass frame and the camera, and then they put made in China. So most of China's exports are not produced in China. They are produced in East Asia and value added due to cheap labor for the final value added portions, and then they export it. Now those countries, East Asian countries, are very willing to come to India than China, because we've got intellectual property laws, we've got courts, democracy, etc. But they say your infrastructure is lousy, and they come on, we get harassed from top to bottom for corruption. So you remove these, we'll leave about China and come to you. So I think we have got a workable plan. It requires a decisiveness, and that's where Narendra Modi comes. He has already demonstrated in Gujarat. I've seen Gujarat as an economy become a world power. And that's it from my side. Oops.
Great.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. I'm going to get right into audience questions. If anybody, yes.
Now you can ask.
I'm not able to hear you, Rahul.
Now you can ask.
Yeah, I'm going to go into questions now from the audience. Real quick, if anybody inside the Hangout has a question, can you quickly raise your hand? Else I move on. Okay. So Karna has a question. Go ahead, Karna.
Dr. Swamy, my question is, considering limited land resources, what percentage of Indian population can really survive on agriculture?
So the question was,
we are using an alternative. I think.
Can I continue the question, Ajay, or?
Yeah, go ahead, Karna.
Yes. So what?
I don't agree with you there, because today we are the only country which can agriculture. I know I heard your question about limited have agriculture 24 months, 12 months of the year. United States gets for 5 months snow. Same thing with Europe, and even China for most parts gets 3 months of snow. India is the only country which, from length and breadth, you can do agriculture for 12 months. Now, second is, this means that we can grow 3 crops a year. But actually, we are only on 25% of the land growing more than one crop. So clearly, the question of land limitation for agriculture is not there. It's a large potential lying there. And then on top of that, the yield per acre is one of the lowest in the world. So you can go increase your yield 3 times, 4 times, fertilizer, pesticide, etc. So I don't think there's any land limitation.
Okay, but the people who are not in rural India, not employed by agriculture,
in the interest of time, I will encourage no follow-ups for today, and I want to quickly get to other questions. If one more chance for anybody in the Hangout who want to raise their hand quickly, and then I will jump into the audience questions. We have a lot of them here.
That's fine.
All right. Yeah, Ramesh wants to ask a question. Go ahead, Ramesh.
Dr. Swamy, thank you for the time. You said apart from agriculture, what are the main other areas that you believe that will bring the economy back to into its glory?
We may have good news. Well, we have good news.
Rahul, you have to shut down the other one, Rahul.
Yes. Okay, we have switched to another one.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
We got another, and I think this other computer, the government don't like it.
Can you hear us?
Ramesh, meanwhile, why don't you repeat your question while we get Dr. Swamy back for the audience sake?
Ajay, let's take the questions from the people first. That's fine. You know, my question can be there. That's fine. We'll take questions from people who have put up on there, and then we'll. If we have time, then we'll deal with my question.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Swamy, we can see you and hear you.
Yes.
I think.
Okay, so I'm going to
go to the.
Okay, Dr. Swamy, we are going to the audience questions directly since we lost some time here. So, can you hear us, Dr. Swamy?
Ajay, you hear us?
Yes.
Connection was lost.
Can you hear
This
us?
is 3D, right?
Yes.
Ajay, just give a couple of minutes, okay? I think they're trying to get up another machine up and running, so just give it as a couple of give them a couple of minutes, and we should be okay.
Ajay, can you hear now?
Yes, there was a little bit of a jitter.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
And the video is the video clear?
No, I don't see the video, but yeah, now I can.
If you can get the audio, we don't need video. No.
Okay, we will try and
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go with the audience question here, Dr. Swamy. So the question is, you had said that bringing in an ordinance to freeze all the black money accounts of Indians held overseas is the possible reality, or will we face resistance from countries holding these black money accounts and bringing them back to India?
Well, see, there are two aspects of it. One is that the United Nations resolution of 2005 makes it mandatory for countries to oblige. I'm not asking for freezing. I'm asking for nationalizing all the accounts. That means the money will become the government's. And if anybody can prove that he had set up that account honestly and legally, we'll return that account. So that's what I would suggest. And the second thing is, now many of these countries have banks of their banks in our country. For instance, the Swiss people have got a number of banks in India, the Union Bank of Switzerland, the Credit Suisse, and so on. And so we can. I mean, it's a question of being able to wield power. You see, if your leadership is corrupt, no one is going to have any respect for you. And they will think that whatever you're going to do is basically for political harassment of your opponents. So if you have an honest government, a lot of people will cooperate. And the Americans have demonstrated what little threat of arrest can do to bank officials. So I think a combination of Samadama Veda Danda, as the old rishis used to prescribe, will be able to get us all the money back, and that's $1.5 trillion. We are all set. We don't, we won't have to worry for a long time if we get that money back.
Okay. The next question is from an engineer, Mr. Amit Dandekar here. He is asking that earlier there used to be a lot of discoveries from Indians which have been recycled over the ages and years, but nowadays we don't see a lot of new things coming out of India. So is there something that you have in mind that your government, if coming to power, would do to boost R&D?
Well, I don't know whether the question is that yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking at the electrical connections. What is it that he was expecting not coming out of India? What is not coming out of India?
So the question really is that what is the next government, if coming to power from BJP side, would do to boost R&D in India? Earlier there used to be
R&D. Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I said by innovation. And we know what we have to do in R&D. There's not too much to be left to be done. The third cycle of the thorium, for it to be converted into U-233. The second is hydrogen fuel cells, where I think 80% of the research is already completed. Americans have lost interest because they got so much oil that the oil companies say, no, we can't lose our investment by this new invention. So the Americans had to suspend the research on hydrogen fuel cells. We have got plenty of shale oil that needs to be extracted. Then we need to use thorium for other purposes. For even now, the Japanese have discovered that instead of hydrogen fuel cells, you can have thorium-driven cells for automobiles. So these areas are cut out for us, and it's all within our reach, and that's what we need to focus on. So this would require about 6%. Again, in the part of that budget would be educational. But 6% of the budget on education would cover a very substantial portion for research and development.
Okay. The next question is on the fake currency threat to India. Briefly, the question is, how serious is that threat? How serious do you think it is, and what can we do?
It's very, very serious. It's very serious. In fact, I think the easiest way to pump in money is through elections. You see, nobody looks at these currencies where they come. Most of it comes in cash. The election is conducted in cash, so it becomes very easy. I think we have a moment of truth coming with Pakistan, and we got to prepare for it. As Lord Krishna told Arjuna at one stage when Mahabharat war seemed even inevitable, the Shastra Sangra karne ke liye tapasya karo. That kind of a situation is coming, and we need to isolate Pakistan. They are isolated from Iran. We need to isolate them from China. And Americans, we can never be sure about them on this issue. But I think if we can isolate Pakistan from Iran and China, I think we can deal with this problem of Pakistan's gross interference into the internal affairs of India in so many ways, and of course they threaten the border. Now, in the long run, we are going to face this problem anyway, because the Taliban is gaining every day in Pakistan, they'll gain in Afghanistan, and if that happens, Taliban has already declared India to be an incomplete chapter of Islamic history. So they themselves will go to war. I mean, you don't have to go to war. The war will be imposed on you. I'm only asking that we be prepared for it.
Okay. Sir, thank you very much. The next question is about the budgets for the courts. It is being asked that should the Supreme Court decide the budget for the courts in India to get them more autonomy?
I think it's shocking, the load on our judges. It's unbelievable. See, in the United States, the entire bench sits, all the I think 18 judges or whatever. They sit in one bench. In India, we have got maybe 15, 16 benches, you see, of two judges each, and we have 31, 32 judges already. And look at the load. They take 300 cases per day. The United States Supreme Court takes only 200 cases per year. I mean, there's a tremendous difference, and there was the American system of requiring discovery and integrities, which is there in our civil procedure code, but the lawyers are too lazy to do it, and the judges so far have resisted. When I was law minister, I tried to bring it, and then the Supreme Court Chief Justice told me there'll be strike in courts and you'll have a real problem. So I think we need to really seriously think in terms of reducing the load on judges and somehow making it profitable for judges to be honest. In other words, I would rather say that no judge should retire, but we don't want the American system that the man will remain on the bench. We'll create a alternative forum where cases which the sitting judges feel it's really taking them a little far afield, they can refer it to this pool of retired judges, and those retired judges would continue to be treated as judges, and they would get the emoluments or the pay that they are getting as judges. So I don't think with this kind of expectation of life increasing, now it's 75 years, we should retire people at the age of 62 and 65. It makes no sense at all. But at the same time, I don't want to disturb the seniority because seniority goes here on the basis of your time of entry, and if somebody stays a judge longer, then somebody else will be denied being Chief Justice. I don't want to disturb that. So create an alternative judicial forum to which cases can be referred to by the Supreme Court for disposal. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking of.
Okay. Moving on to the next question, sir. This is from a gentleman, Venkat Ravi Shankar. The question is, educating young Indians is a big challenge. How do you propose to handle that, and how can common citizens participate in that?
Well, I think there are 3-4 areas where people can learn themselves and be motivated, and your internet is now a great boon for that. One is know your correct history, you see. The whole history is all a bunch of junk which the British have put in to really make you feel an inferiority complex, you see. All this Aryan Dravidian theory, this that we are constantly butchered by foreigners who came. We are the only country which resisted Islam. I mean, Islam would have gone all the way to Japan, but for India. And in any other country which Islam conquered, they converted that country into 100% Muslim. We are the only country where they're not even 15%, you see, and even in undivided India, they were 25%. So I think the fact of the matter is that we need to know our true history. We must know what our civilization is, and it's a continuing civilization. There have been 46 civilizations, 45 have died, only one remains, that's the Hindu civilization. And we need to know that's the mainstream civilization. And we are not against Muslims and Christians because they also are descendants of Hindus. So if the Christians accept it without difficulty, but the Muslims the mullahs are not yet reconciled to that. But we can bring them around in private conversations. They accept it, and we need to have a well-defined identity, and we need to develop a common language. And I think Sanskrit is that language. And those of you living abroad, you have wonderful software programs for Sanskrit. You should make it a policy that our younger generation will learn Sanskrit. And Sanskrit has now uses in computers. Go to artificial intelligence and computer sciences. Now Sanskrit's become very useful there, so much so that the NASA is even requiring Sanskrit to be learned by those who want to specialize in that field. So I think by the way, I must say the Twitter is also seems to be a great educator. It's an educator of me also, because kinds of things on the websites I don't get to see. Twitter people refer that to me. So I think there are now social media, which is also a great educator. I don't see any difficulty re-educating our people, reorienting them, and make them feel as a Virat Indian, which means Virat Hindustani, which means Hindu, or those who accept their ancestors are Hindus.
Okay, sir, I just want to be respectful of your time. There are many more questions. Can we take a few more? Or...
You go on.
Okay.
Go on till I first falls asleep.
Okay. So this next question is from a gentleman named Mr. Divakar S. Natarajan, and he's asking, as a stalwart defender of Rama Setu, what are your views on the Gadgil Kasturirangan report and the resistance to the protection of Western Ghats, especially in Kerala?
Well, I must confess I haven't studied it in great detail. I've seen reports of it in the newspaper. It will take me a little far afield. If the issues there are one of how to prevent something from deteriorating to a point where we can't retrieve it. But I won't be able to really comment on that at all.
Okay, moving on to the next one, there was a question asked about the EVMs, the VVPAT enabled EVMs. You recently tweeted out that Congress has allegedly set up a high budget for potentially manipulating the EVM.
Yeah, 5,000 crores. Yeah.
Right. So what is the game plan to tackle that, and is that really a serious threat?
You want me to tell it on the wireless with the Congress people listening in? They can do it. I can tell you that. And if we get really angry, we can do it to them. So don't worry. Just keep faith. Let them try.
Okay. Sir, moving on to the next one, there are a lot of people asking similar questions. So about Aam Aadmi Party. So I'm slightly off topic, but since there are a lot of people asking the same question, the question generally is that Aam Aadmi Party has taken center stage, at least in the Delhi elections. Is that to be taken seriously, and what is your position on how to handle that at the national level?
Well, see, the Aam Party created a euphoria amongst these some middle class and some of these people in the slum areas by promising things that they are not able to deliver. They were very emphatic that the Congress is corrupt. The whole country knows that Congress is corrupt. The whole country is turned against Congress because of corruption, and now they are ready to form a government with them after promising that they will not form a government with anybody. They'll sit in the opposition. The main problem that the Aam Party is now facing is that all the MLAs are ready to desert. If they don't form a government, I can tell you that of the 28, 24 will want to join voluntarily the BJP, and nobody can stop that. I mean, you can't say that is skullduggery or that we are buying people out. The Aam Party people have become MLA for the first time. They don't want to give it up. They don't care a damn about Mr. Kejriwal's commitments. They want to remain MLA. They don't want to face another election. The Aam Party is doomed because they are going to form a government. They are doomed. If they don't form a government, they are doomed. I think you don't worry about them. They will be like Ram Rajya Parishad, coming and going within one election.
Okay. moving on to the next one, sir, I'm waiting for your signal to say when we are over time because I understand we're.
Yeah, I will tell you. I'll tell you. I've got an Australian program. I'll tell you when that gets close.
Okay. So this gentleman is Mr. Ribus Narayana. The question is, Narendra Modi in one of his speeches, I haven't heard the speech, so I'll take it at face value, said that railway coaches manufacturing should be privatized. Do you think that this is a good idea? What are your views on privatization of railways?
Well, there's nothing big in that. I mean, our private guys can do it, and we can have an supervisory authority. Today, there's no one to supervise, and there's a lot of time lag problems, and so I have no problem privatizing. I would be a little worried about privatizing railway services. I mean, that's too big to be given to be private, and we need it. I think I would be against too much privatization in defense because it creates a military industrial complex which will be another cartel. We already have enough problems with cartels, so I don't want one more cartel. But I think as far as production of goods like bogies and so on, that could well be privatized. I see no difficulty in that.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is about, we have a lot of people and experts who are working in various fields abroad. Are you thinking of any lateral entry provisions into the IIS, etc., so that we can get experts from outside?
Of course. I mean, the world is benefiting from our brains. Why we shouldn't benefit from our own brains, you see? We are really bright people. I mean, I've been through the length and breadth of the United States campaigning, speaking. I see such bright people with so many ideas. Yeah, I'd like to. I told you the thing that I would like the Indians abroad to do is this hydrogen fuel cells or thorium-driven fuel cells, the alternative power systems that we need for efficiency and to ensure that we give power without interruption. I think mostly in the transmission. We need a lot of research on the transmission system that we have, which is a very poor system. There's so much leakages going on. Like that, I think we need to pick brains. I mean, we have to train intellectuals, not people like Amartya Sen, who are communists, who are already discredited because they foisted 40 years of the Soviet model and kept us down at 3.5% per year GDP growth. So we need these young professionals that you see all over America, Europe. We need to pick their brains, no question about it, and we'll certainly probably convert the Ministry of Non-Resident Indian Affairs into a genuine intellectual pool affairs ministry.
Okay, so there was a question about the fact that you always said that we could abolish corporate taxes, etc., and raise money through auctions. What happens when all the resources run out?
That's impossible. The amount of resources we got is enormous. Thorium, 60% of the world's thorium, will never run out of that. Oil fields have hardly been explored, you see. The international cartels has kept us in the dark. And suddenly we discovered it in Krishna Godavari and we gave it away. Shale oil, unlimited resources on the coast sides of coastal areas of India. So no. This is the Malthus weakness that we have had. They will run out of land, and then they will therefore won't be able to produce food due to law of diminishing returns. Malthus didn't know what is innovation. Now we know that you can grow at 12%, 13% without difficulty. In those days, you couldn't grow more than 2%, 3% per year.
Okay. There is a question from a gentleman named Rupam. The question is, can electricity generation in villages be made structured through cooperative society like Amul doing biomass-based electricity generation?
No, it'll be difficult because we need a national grid now, and we need that grid to be quality controlled. And I don't know about this. See, when you have best power, you must be able to make sure that you can supervise too. And when you start decentralizing this way, it will be very difficult to monitor and supervise. I prefer a national system, a national grid, and highly computerized system by which we keep very strict supervision over the generation and distribution of electricity.
Okay. Ramesh has a question.
Yeah.
Dr. Swamy, both the finance minister and Raghuram Rajan have tried their best to make this economy turn around, but it's not trying to. It's not even doing even. It's not even giving an inch for the turning around. So, what is wrong with them? Seriously, I mean, why? I mean, they've tried everything under the sun, but nothing's working for them. So, what do you
I'm
recommend?
not sure. I'm not sure they've tried everything and it's done. I think in the case of Mr. Chidambaram, he has only one-point program: how to make money and provide sufficient funds to Ms. Sonia Gandhi. I don't think he has tried anything at all. I mean, he gets all these crazy ideas. Suddenly, he'll put a service tax, he'll harass the hell out of everybody, and then you'll suddenly talk about direct tax code, this, that, all kinds of things. I don't think he's a bureaucrat. You see, he was never educated in economics, so he doesn't know a thing about economics. As far as Raghuram Rajan is concerned, he is a first-class professor. He may be suitable for World Bank. He's totally unsuitable for India. I mean, he said that I am intent on controlling inflation and therefore I'm raising interest rates. What happened? What he was teaching in class doesn't seem to operate in India because he doesn't see all the other variables. I think he's totally unsuited for India, and I think it's time he went back to teach at Chicago, or if the Americans want to make him head of the World Bank, they can make him. But I don't think he belongs in the Reserve Bank of India. The quicker he leaves, the better.
Okay, there is another question here from a gentleman named Ram Odedera. The question is, what is the effect of FIIs on the Indian economy? Our stock market has been reflecting the movement of FII and the volatility instead of reflecting the healthiness of Indian economy organization.
Yeah, the FII consists of two parts, the FDI and the other is the hot money. This hot money is all participatory notes, and they are round tripping of money that goes out of India and comes back to India. And I would, for at least for some time, block all hot money flows into India. It's already now more than FDI. It was not like that 10 years ago when the UPA came to power, but now it's become the dominant part of the FII, and we certainly would, and I certainly would like to close down this route of Mauritius. But I was shocked to find in the 2G spectrum scam that every one of the scam companies had an office in Mauritius and were routing money through that, and I found that it was in the same street, in the same building, in fact in the same room, and that room was under lock and key with no furniture in it. So you can see that there's a kind of sham that goes on, and therefore I think it's time to say FDI, and FDI with level playing field. I'm not in favor of Walmart coming to India because it's not level playing field. They will come with capital with 2% interest rate and dip into our cheap labor resources. And our traders have to compete with them with paying 12% to 18% interest rate. I mean, there is a level playing field that unless the Americans open up to Indian companies to come and build roads and houses and take our labor from here to do the construction work, we are not going to agree to things like Walmart.
Great. Sir, I would say last two questions.
Yeah.
So there is a question coming here regarding tourism. We've heard Narendra Modi talk about tourism in various speeches. This is a gentleman named Mr. Madan Gopal Sharma. His question is, what are your thoughts on tourism sector and its potential for the Indian economy?
Well, there are a lot of places to see in India, and there are a lot of curiosity about India. We need, first of all, to see that tourists are protected, because the word has got around that they are not protected. And, you know, our guys, semi-literates who come from the rural areas, and these rich guys' children, they see Western women in the kind of clothes that they are used to in their own country, and they go berserk, and we get a bad name in the process. I think first and foremost we need a legal infrastructure, a law enforcement infrastructure for tourism. And second is I think we should be very careful with these foreigners. Many of them I found, at least in Sri Lanka, they've had a big problem on pedophiles turning up, and an industry sprouting upon that. We need to regulate tourist traffic. I welcome them, but I would regulate them.
Great. So this is, I would call it the last question from my side, and then yeah, Amitabh is raising hands, so we'll come to you, Amitabh, before we close. So the question is, in 2009, you wrote an article in the Hindu saying that an Indo-China war isn't probable. Is there any reason you find now to change your position on that?
Did I say is probable or isn't probable?
Well, according to this gentleman, it says isn't probable. His name is Mr. Kush Arora.
Yeah, but I wrote the article or he wrote the article?
Well, according to him, you wrote the article where you said it is not.
I think the war with China is wholly improbable. China has got a huge, long supply line from Sichuan province to the border of India, going through hostile territory. And it's because of our good behavior that nothing is happening in Tibet. And we have kept to our treaty obligations, which we signed in '54 and re-signed in 2003 under Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So, but if they are going to war, then we are not committed by those treaties. So that's one. Second is China does have today an advantage in the sea part because they have built this string of pearls, as they call. But we can rectify that. We are sitting in Car Nicobar and we make a deal with the Indonesian who don't like the Chinese very much, and police Malacca Strait. That's the end of Chinese foreign trade. 90% of Chinese foreign trade passes through Malacca Strait. We can block it. So those are some of the things we need to add, and I'm glad that at least one thing that Manmohan Singh did, my old friend whom the whole country is now abusing, but he did move Sukhoi, 2 squadrons of Sukhoi to Tezpur, which can strike any supply line of the Chinese from to our border. So we are quite secure. I don't think the Chinese want a war with us. Even in 1962, although we abjectly collapsed at that time thanks to Jawaharlal Nehru's wooziness, but they also saw the uprising, the upsurge of nationalism in the country, where people were handing out their bangles, jewelry, things which we thought they are so dearly attached they would give up their life, but not that. But they were handing it for the defense fund. And I think now also on your Devyani issue, I mean, the country is on fire. So the patriotism, the latent patriotism in India is very strong. I don't think the Chinese want to disturb that. And, I think we have to find ways by which the Chinese feel secure that we are not going to be tools of the Americans. We are not going to be another Japan or Australia. And I think we'll have very good friendship with China.
Great. Amitabh ji, you had a question. Please go ahead. And I would call that the last question for the day.
Go ahead, Amitabh.
Amitabh, you're on mute.
Oh, namaskar, sir. We have 2 questions, actually. 1 comment, 2 questions. Mr. Viswabandhu, who is also in this hangout with us, he has a question about, and that's, I think, is a very legitimate question. Why is still India stuck with the Visa and MasterCard to process credit card transactions in India, and the 2 to 3% of fee going back to these companies overseas? Why don't India have their own credit card processing where the funds stay in India? And the second and the last line I have is, what do you think is the biggest obstacle on the economic growth in India? Is it the corruption or lack of leadership, or inflation, or slow GDP growth? What is the biggest obstacle?
Well, the first question is, it's a suggestion, I think, within the keeping of the international facilities that these Visas and MasterCards provide, American Express provides. I think you're right. We ought to have a competing credit card facility, and the government can promote that and make our credit cards compete with these people. But there's no question of banning it. I think we need their international network till we develop our own international network. On the second question, corruption is the cancer. Now the brain is fine, the heart is fine, the kidneys are fine, but corruption is like a cancer. It's spreading, and it destabilizes the economy. It changes our investment priorities. It breeds greed. and leads to crime. It leads to that kind of leadership emerging who can outspend or outbuy people. So it's really the main issue, and that is what has to be addressed. And it's a problem that is afflicting every party, but it doesn't require more than 2-3 honest people to clear it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy. Prasadji has some closing remarks.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Subramanian Swamy. I know you had a very, very busy schedule. You came last night at 12 o'clock, and again this morning, 8 in the morning, and we really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart in taking this time out of your busy schedule. I know you have at 10 o'clock another program, and I want to thank you very, very much. And I want to ask the audience what kind of topics would you like to see, and you can send email pjalaman@yahoo.com or any one of these participants here if you know them, and let them know. We would like to eventually would like to offer this weekly, but so let us hear from you how you want, what you want, like. And
I have a passing comment.
Yes, sir.
For me, interacting with the Indians abroad, particularly in the United States, is brings back happy memories, because in the emergency, had it not been for the Indians in the United States and to some extent in Canada and to a larger extent in Britain, the emergency wouldn't have gone. The emergency only went not because we overthrew Mrs. Gandhi, but because she declared an election, and we defeated her in the election. And she held the election, and she told me herself that it became impossible with these overseas Indians creating such a racket that I had to resolve this question. The emergency, instead of being taken as a permanent condition, was taken as a unresolved issue. And therefore, to resolve the issue, I thought I'll win the election, so I held the election. So you played a major part in restoration of democracy, and I'm sure that you'll play a major part in the economic renaissance which we are going to have in the next 5 years.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope we to see you in power next election, and we look forward to many more like this. Thank you very much, Dr. Swamy.
Welcome anytime.
Thank you all. Thank you all again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy.
Good night or good morning.